Hi, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go ahead and use everything we've learned so far to make a useful function that we can use over and over with our script. So let's start out by erasing everything we did in the last video. I'm going to make two variables here, and just for the purposes of this video, I want you to just pretend that these aren't variables that we just created in the script, but maybe these are variables that were inputted by a user. So let's say somebody visited our website and inputted some variables into a form, which we'll learn about later, and then we're actually using those variables to run our function. So those two variables are going to be name and password. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And again, let's just kind of pretend that these two variables were inputted by a user. They're not. In other words, they would be different for every person that would be on the site and inputted a name and password. So let's just start with that, and then we're going to go ahead and make a function. Let's go down here a little bit. We'll make a function login, and we'll give it two parameters. We'll give it a username, and we'll give it a password. Okay, in this function, what we want to do is compare a username to another. We want to compare two names together and see if they match. For this video, let's pretend that we just have a database with just one username. As you may know, we can have a database with millions of usernames, but just for the purposes of simplicity, let's just keep it at one. And so that'll kind of be our constant for this function. So let's db name. Let's just call that db name. And db pass 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. Again, let's just kind of assume that these two values were given to us from a database query, and we have those here, and we'll go into that in the next few videos. So the first thing we want to do is say if username, and this username refers to the parameter that we passed in. If you look right here, I hope my cursor catches up with my voice here. This first parameter in our login function, that's what that's referring to. So whatever value we pass into this function when we call it will be the value which is inserted here for us. If username is equal to, and there's our double equal sign, has a completely different meaning than an assignment operator, which is a single equal sign. We use the double equal sign to compare values in it as a condition. So if two values are equal, it will return true. If they're not equal, it will return false. So if username equals dbName, let's make it do something else. And in this case, else, that means our username is not going to be equal to our database, whatever username we have in our database. So let's go echo wrong. Sorry if that went out of your screen a little bit. There we go. Wrong username. And we can actually go ahead and make another if statement, this time inside of our first if statement. It might look a little confusing, but if we tab in a little bit, it should keep it a little more clear. So you can see I tabbed in just one more unit there, just to kind of push our if statement to the right a little bit, and that's just kind of showing that that's inside of the other if statement. So if the username is equal to the name we have in our database, let's go ahead and ask another condition here. And this time we're going to ask if password is equal to the password we have in the database for this username. We're going to do something else, and if that's not true for some reason, then we'll have another else statement here. And so this line here line 18 will never be reached if the username does not reach the does not equal the database name. So we're never going to have to worry about wasting our server resources looking up passwords when the username doesn't even match in the first place. So if password equals database name, then we don't have a function right now that's named this, but let's just pretend that we do. We would have a function that we could create named log this guy in, and maybe that function would go through and set his cookie, set his session. We'll learn about all that later, but let's just say that will actually log the person in where they could see their account details, and we'll also go ahead and echo welcome welcome back, and then we can also use that variable again if we want to, so we can just put his username there. So actually we can either use his username or his database name, because if this line 20 is reached, that means that both of these are the same anyways. So it would go ahead and say welcome back Michael Jones or whatever. So again, and then we have another else statement here. If this line 18 is not true, and so in this case the username was equal, but the password was not equal, it didn't match. So if this didn't match, it's going to skip down to this else statement here, which is also indented for clarity. So let's echo password didn't match, and we'll also add a line break in there just in case. So let's. I don't think we needed to add a line break there, but it's probably just good practice to add a line break there. So let's save that, and we'll kind of check out what happened here. Let's see if oh, okay, I didn't call my function here. So this is our function, and now we're going to call the function login, which is the name of our function. We're going to give it the name as our username and the password as our password. And remember that this password is referring to this variable. This down here, you could see it's a capital W. This is still going to work because this is just passing it in. We could have named these two parameters anything we wanted to. As long as we give the function the two parameters, it'll be fine. The two, as long as they're the right data type, which we'll look into a little bit more. But just for now, just know that it takes two strings as a parameter. It takes a username string and a password string, and this line here is gonna call that function. So let's save that and reload. Okay, it said password didn't match. So let's kind of go through this and look what happened. First, it took Michael Jones and ABCDEFG as a password as these two parameters. After that, it asked, does username equal the name we have for your database name? Well, let's look. Michael Jones, that matches. So this is going to occur here. If password equals whatever password we had in the database, log this guy in. Otherwise, say password didn't match. And in this case, his correct password is 12345, but he gave us ABCDEFG, so that didn't match. So let's go ahead and change these around a little bit. George Wyatt and password, and this time let's use the correct password here, and we'll kind of see what happens. It said wrong username, and if you notice, our password did not match, did not even happen, and that even if we change this to the wrong password, it still wouldn't happen because that line of code was never reached. It'll still just say wrong username because this if statement here was false, so it skipped all of this and went right down to the else statement for let me move this for you. It went right down to the else statement here and just echoed that. So if the username did not equal the name we had for you in our database, it's going to skip all of that, all of this indented code here, and go straight to our else statement. So I hope that clears it up a little bit. In the next video, we'll look a little more into return values. We're going to go ahead and use Boolean values with our return statement. That's pretty common, and it's good to kind of know that. And after that, we'll start getting into some built-in functions that are already available to us with PHP that can do some really cool things fairly quickly for us. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.